Next on Worcester News Tonight, police investigating the death of a man hit by a train in the city Monday. And a meeting in Southbridge tonight on whether the state should take over its troubled school district. Good evening, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim McCone. A meeting has just finished tonight in Southbridge. Education Commissioner Mitchell Chester had recommended the state take control of the town's public school system. Tonight, he was in Southbridge to hear from parents and teachers about the state of education in the district.
Southbridge has been struggling for years. The state board identified Southbridge 12 years ago as an underperforming district. We've seen little improvement since then, and so we've watched an incredible turnover of leadership. We've had something like 7 superintendents in the last 5 years, 7 high school principals in the last 5 years. So there's no continuity of leadership. The results are quite low. The graduation rates are quite low, and I know that we can do a lot better than we're doing here.
Meanwhile, one school leader says they need to have a conversation and tell the state progress is being made. Our Olivia Lemon has the details.
Leadership instability, budget problems, and lack of language programs are the top problems for the Southbridge School District. This, according to the chair of the school committee. Scott Lazo says in his last 6 months as chair, he's had to deal with some major issues from the previous committee.
We won our election with a big action plan of appointing a superintendent, redoing the administrative cabinet, and really put a new leadership phase on the whole school system.
The state education commissioner has recommended the school system be put under state control. The commissioner will meet with the Southbridge community Monday night to discuss issues in the system.
Educators, community leaders have to come forth so the Department of Education can make an informed decision on what's in the best interest of those kids.
I know that the commissioner wants to do the right thing for our young people, and we're looking at hearing what he has to say this evening and then finding ways to work together so that we can maximize all children's potential to learn here in Southbridge.
Interim Superintendent Timothy Connor says in his 2 months in Southbridge, he's seen progress being made with the new school committee.
I think the primary issue that the commissioner is concerned about is that there's been a lack of continued leadership both in the superintendency and the high school principalship. And those are 2 items that our school committee is presently trying to address.
Lazo says there have been 5 superintendents in 4 years and 7 different administrators at the high school in the last 4 years. He blames the previous school committee on this continuous change of administration.
You have a revolving door that's created tremendous amount of instability, and that's the concern of the state, and rightfully so.
Olivia Lemon, Worcester News Tonight.
Worcester police detectives are investigating the death of a man hit by a train in the city. Police say the man was lying on the train tracks when a CSX train traveling from Worcester to Albany reportedly hit him. Detectives were on scene near Prescott Street, and the medical examiner's office is working to determine the actual cause of death.
A few scenarios that we're working with right now. We don't have an identity confirmed at this point. We're still working on that. And we're still working on the possibility of several factors on why that individual was there on the tracks.
Police are also asking nearby businesses if they have surveillance video of the tracks. They say if anyone saw anything at all, to please contact police. A jury finds a man guilty of second-degree murder and firearms violations for his role in the 2011 fatal shooting on Rodney Street. 26-year-old Rafael Rivera was one of 5 men charged in the murder of 34-year-old Juan Melendez back in September of 2011. Testimony in the trial stated that Melendez was part of a gang and that Rivera and the 4 other defendants were part of a rival gang. The 4 others charged in the murder are still awaiting trial. Rivera will be sentenced on March 2nd. He is held without bail until then. Police respond to gunshots on Water Street early Sunday morning. The ShotSpotter gunshot detection system alerted police shortly before 2 a.m. of shots fired. Upon arriving, officers discovered bullet holes in a building on Water Street. Witnesses told police that a fight between 2 groups broke out before shots rang out. There were no injuries. The investigation is ongoing. Massachusetts is ending its long-standing practice of sending women with drug or alcohol problems but who have committed no crimes to prison. Governor Charlie Baker today signed a bill that gives those women access to addiction treatment services at 2 state hospitals. The bill was written up after the ACLU of Massachusetts sued. The bill was signed as House and Senate negotiators continue working on the final version of wide-ranging bills to address the state's deadly opioid addiction crisis. The district attorney's office hosts a community awareness forum on the opioid epidemic. Took place at Algonquin Regional High School. The panel featured members of law enforcement, community legislators, healthcare providers, and a recovering addict. The DA's office says the forum is a part of an opioid task force formed in the spring of 2015.
To do more. That's why we're here. And I think the biggest thing in the end, what we're going to have to do is, through the school-based programs, is prevention and intervention. But right now, you have to deal with the problem. And as you heard tonight, there are so many different problems that we have. But everyone is getting smarter on the issue. By getting smarter on the issue, we're getting better on the issue. And that really is good government.
The task force is funded through a $400,000 grant entitled the Hal Rogers Grant. Anna Maria College is set to renovate their student campus center after receiving a $400,000 grant. The grant comes from the Worcester-based George Alden Trust. The college has received Alden Trust grants in the past, but this is the largest in Anna Maria's history. Anna Maria is now working to hire a designer for the project. The college says the improvements will go a long way in improving the comfort of their students.
Opportunity for us to start the process of rebuilding our campus center and doing it really to improve the comfort of the students, energy efficiency, and tighten the building envelope. That's the first step to usually do in a project, and they were very generous to us, and we're very thankful for that.
The upgrades are expected to begin in May and be completed for the fall semester. Well, it's a little later than originally scheduled, but Uxbridge PD swearing in their newest member of the police force Monday, K9 Bear. We first told you about Bear earlier this month when he was set to be sworn in, but just minutes before the ceremony, Uxbridge police were alerted to a reckless driver. The car Bear was in responded and was struck by the vehicle. Bear and the officer involved suffered minor injuries. The ceremony, of course, was delayed, but tonight Uxbridge police made him an official member of the force.
So today was a very proud moment for the community, as this is the first K9 unit in the history of the town of Uxbridge. This was a 15-week training that was attended by Officer Stockwell and his K9 partner, where they're now certified in apprehension and tracking, and their training will continue in 6 months in the area of narcotic detection.
Patrolman Keith Stratton was also sworn in at tonight's Selectmen's meeting. Well, Patriots fans are down today after the team's heartbreaking loss to Denver. Our Brittany Schaefer caught up with a few and has the story.
A loud crowd of Patriots fans filled this restaurant Sunday, but most left Wicked Wing Co. in silence after a tough Patriots loss.
And it literally looked like a family member and everyone's family died at the same time, and nobody talked. They all just got up and paid their tabs. A few people stayed, but the majority of everyone just kind of cleared out and didn't speak.
General Manager Jonathan Richmond says the crowd was into the game and rambunctious. Richmond said the most chaotic part of the night was the last few minutes.
But towards the end of the game, when the Patriots showed some sort of life, when they scored a touchdown and were going for the two-point conversion, it just got crazy in here. I think there wasn't a quiet person in this bar at all. Everyone was slamming on the bar, shaking the chairs. It's pretty wild.
Nick St. Germain is an offensive lineman for St. PETER-MARIAN High School. He was disappointed in how many times the Denver Broncos defense had the chance to hit Tom Brady.
Being a football player, you know, I also played offensive line at St. PETER-MARIAN, and just watching Brady, what was it, the stat was like he got hit like 20 times or something. I thought that was disgusting how, you know, their feet were stuck in the mud and the defensive line was just overwhelming them.
Not only were the Patriots fans disappointed, but New Tech Design Group had 12,000 less championship shirts to print.
Disappointment. Would have been nice to print 12,000 plus shirts.
We had the presses ready to go.
We were going to print 3 designs, and 2 of them were on navy shirts, and 1 of them was on a heather gray shirt. And it was just a print with the Patriots logo, just saying conference champs.
As for this year, fans agreed it was how quickly the season ended that really hurt the most.
There was that kind of abruptness that leaves you kind of empty.
Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
So the Patriots may not be going to the big game, but at least one guy who played football in the city is on his way to Super Bowl 50. Arnie Madison explains.
In the Assumption College football team's locker room, Scott Simonson's jersey is on display.
He's just paying his dues right now by making sure that he continues to prove himself, and every opportunity he gets, he tries to make the most of it.
After playing tight end in college, Simonson went on to the NFL, where he was first signed by the Raiders and then picked up by the Carolina Panthers, who are now headed to the Super Bowl. And after last night's win, Simonson and Assumption football coach Bob Chesney chatted briefly about the big game.
I told him that we're all really, really proud of him. I told him, that it was really neat to see him on TV and, to make sure he cherishes these moments, because it's not very often anybody gets to play in the Super Bowl.
And he isn't the only one. Sutton's own Dan Light played football for St. John's and has been on the Broncos practice squad this season.
That's a critical position in terms of their preparation. They've got to get themselves ready to play the Panthers Super Bowl.
Unfortunately, Light was cut by the Broncos after Sunday's game. Simonson, however, is on the active roster and could get a chance to live every football player's dream by playing in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks.
You kind of need to see a guy from here that put in time and effort and all his energy and his hard work to be able to parlay that into the biggest stage, and now we're talking about the Super Bowl.
Andy Madison,